Okay,
You are live and unmuted.
Okay,
That's-
thank you.
and or which one are you?
For the 675.
Hudson. Okay, great.
All three of you?
Yes.
Liz, do you have the spreadsheet to update the applicants?
I don't know.
If you can do 702 Greenwich Street, I'll start the speech. This
Okay, I thought that Eugene was,
he's not here,
oh, okay,
as far as I can see.
thank
Actually,
you.
there's two of them, so you can have one.
Okay. All right, Mark will promote Josh Heitler, who is the person who will be presenting
Okay.
for 702.
Okay, if he's on that, I'll begin. This is Community Board 2 Manhattan Landmarks Committee meeting. It's our only meeting this month, April. There's a quorum present. And for the benefit of the public and any others who are on, and new applicants in particular, the order is the application, comments from invited guests, comments from the public, and then comments from the board. At the conclusion of the presentations, there will be an executive meeting for the committee to form the resolutions. Anyone is invited to stay, but only members of the committee may speak at that meeting. The first application, sorry, for the sign up to speak for the public, in order to facilitate the public comment section, a sign up sheet is being placed in the chat. Please fill out the form for as many applications as you wish to speak about. Please ensure that your camera and microphone are turned off. You'll be elevated to a panelist at the proper time when your name is called. And when your name is called, you only have to speak. There's no activity on your part. There's a 2-minute limit to the testimony, and be sure to turn off your camera and microphone when you finish speaking. The first application is for 702 Greenwich Street to replace the door and storefront. When you're ready, you can begin.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Yes, please.
Okay.
If you just say who you are.
Oh, certainly. My name is Josh Heitler with Heitler Houston Architects, and we're presenting today application for 702 Greenwich Street. So this is the property that's located in the Greenwich Village Historic District extension. You can see it here on the map.
We're not seeing your.
Sorry, you're not seeing our screen?
Oh, sorry, I had the wrong screen up. Okay.
So we're located in the Greenwich Village Historic District extension. This is the existing facade as it exists today. There is a storefront and doorway. The proposal is only to replace within the existing opening, so only the storefront section and the door. No change is contemplated to the brickwork or the facade in any other way. On the left again is the existing elevation. On the right here is the proposed elevation. The existing elevation is a bit esoteric to the previous tenant and in a state of disrepair. And the proposed elevation is intended to be more historically and contextually sensitive and coordinate more with the existing details of the building, as well as providing security to the new tenant, which is a jewelry store. So they have some requirements on size of lights and other things that's part of their security program. And we're going to walk through a couple of the elements and how we, the precedent we looked at and looking around the neighborhood to try to ensure that this would be more historically and more contextually accurate. This is again is the existing from two different angles. The three shots on the bottom are what the Landmarks Preservation Commission has in their photo archives. So the designation photo from 2005 shows in the area of this opening what looks like a roll down gate. The earlier photo from 1983 to 88 shows again something similar here. It's a little bit hard to see. And the original photo closest to the building's construction in 1937, unfortunately, shows the door open. We do know that the original use was a garage, and it is in the designation as a utilitarian modern building. We did look at some other contemporary historical photos in the neighborhood, again, because that door didn't happen to be shut in the photo. So here you can see some other similar garage type buildings in the neighborhood at around the same time that have, you know, a multi-paneled appearance to them. This one is interesting, particularly 703 Greenwich, which is obviously very nearby. And it appears to have been a multi-paneled storefront, similar to what we're proposing in its original form. Just some general photos to identify the location here. This is Greenwich Street here. The property is located on this corner. I'm just going to highlight in each photo, but here's that piece of the one-story facade as seen across Greenwich. Here it is from a slightly different location. Here it is further down the block, so you can see it at the end of the block. And then this is the side. Again, the facade we're talking about is around the corner here, but this is the side of the one-story building, which also has multi-pane black metal windows. And then this is looking away from the property down the block for context. And then again, we started to look at similar conditions in the neighborhood. So this is the immediate neighbor. So the subject property is in red. This one we're looking at here in black is 708 Greenwich. And here's a close-up of their infill treatment. They're using a combination of multi-pane glass block. This one is across the street. They have, again, multi-pane glass block. In the upper section, they have, again, a very similar treatment of multi-pane storefront. And that's just a close-up of their infill. This is a couple blocks away, but of similar condition as a one-story multi-pane garage infill. And we also looked in the neighborhood for garage-type facades that had pedestrian entrances incorporated into them. So this is around the corner on Perry Street. You can see here, I think we have a close-up, that it's a garage-type storefront with a incorporated pedestrian door. And a similar condition exists, I believe. This is further up Greenwich over here, 743. This is an active garage, but it too has a multi-pane facade and an operable pedestrian door within the pattern. The other piece we wanted to look at were awnings. The owner is also wanting to do an awning here. So this is, again, the adjacent properties on the block, several sort of simple fabric awnings up the street here at 708 and further down the block at 716 and 718. Close-up of them. The other thing we wanted to just highlight is the condition of the existing facade in this area storefront. There's a lot of rust and rot, areas of disrepair that we are obviously going to be replacing. This is a plan of the tenants portion of the building. There's some additional, there's a apartment to this side, but this is the tenant space. And then here is the proposed storefront and door shown in context and plan. This is a view kind of looking at the corner that shows the new proposed storefront system with the incorporated pedestrian door, again, only within the existing opening, no changes outside of it. And noting that it is, similar in palette to the existing windows that are on the side street. And then here they are again, side to side, existing on the left, proposed on the right. And showing again the proposed relative to some of the neighborhood precedents we cited. So this is the next door neighbor, the one across the way. Some more detail on the materials. This is the elevation of the existing storefront. And here is the proposed new storefront in elevation. Some of the details, again, this is existing, which has this sort of large picture window element and these projections. And then the proposed, which is much simpler and flatter and sits back from the historic opening. And then this is shown with the proposed awning. The awning also is within the opening and set back so that it minimally protrudes past the face of the existing building, actually more or less aligns with the existing building. So very much within that existing opening. Some more detail on the awning. These are some construction details of the new storefront system. We are keeping the existing structure that frames it on 3 sides, 4 sides, including the bottom, and just building the new, replacing the new storefront sort of one for one. Some more details here as well. And then finally, just a summary here that our intent is to remove the existing deteriorated storefront that we don't feel is particularly historical or contextual, and replace it with something that preserves the existing opening, but is more historically appropriate and more contextually sensitive, that also meets the requirements of the tenant. And any of the existing to remain elements will repair in place and preserve. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Could you go back to the awning, please?
Certainly. Let me just. This one?
Well, looking at the section, how high is it and how far does it extend from the building?
So the bottom of it is 9 feet off the ground, and it doesn't actually extend past the face of the building. So
No, the height of the awning itself.
The height of the awning itself is 3'10".
3'10". I didn't hear clearly.
3'10", I'm sorry.
How high? I didn't hear how high it is.
The awning is 3'10".
And it extends to the edge of the building.
To the edge of the building. It's about 18 inches per the projection, but that is the same amount as the building. I'm just going to go to the side view so it starts at the facade at the new storefront line and it ends at the base of the building.
So it's inset, as it were.
It's inset.
And it's fixed, I gather.
It is fixed.
Okay, thank you. From the committee, are there questions?
Anita, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. One is the glass mirrored?
No, the glass will have a security film on it, but that security film will be clear in nature.
Okay. And the size of the divided lights, where did you get that size from? They're kind of horizontal.
Yes. The size is they are a little over 1 foot high and about 16 inches wide. That came from a couple of things. One, we were trying to meet the security requirements for the tenant. again, being a jewelry store, the idea is that even if you somehow break the glass, these would remain and be at a size that was not, easy to fit through. And we looked more at the garage doors that we had seen in the neighborhood in terms of that proportion, and they were mostly horizontal to square. I can go back and find some of them, like these ones, for example. These ones. So these were very horizontal, but I think most of these we found were horizontal to square. So that's what we were sort of echoing.
Yeah.
I have a question, which is there any illumination of any sort that's part of this application?
No, there's no proposed illumination.
Okay,
There are
thanks.
sorry, go ahead.
I also was going to ask the same question that Anita asked about the mirror quality. So we can just assume that this is just a function of the render, that it doesn't, that whatever this clear film is does not have any additional reflective property.
Yes, correct. This has been a concern of Landmarks as we've been working with them. So I believe, if we're able to gain your approval today, we'll go in front of Landmarks in early May, and they've asked for physical samples of the film because they have the same concern. So they've said in the past that they've approved clear security films. So this is something that exists. So we're hoping there's a solution that works for both the client and Landmarks, and we understand yours and their concern that it not be mirrored or reflective.
Great, thank you. Is there anybody else on the committee with a question for the applicant? No? Okay, we'll go to the public now. Is there anybody here from the public who is here to testify on this or express an opinion? No? Okay, thank you. I think we can go to the public online now, Chenault. Is Eugene with us?
No, Mark's managing it.
Mark, okay.
I can also.
Mark, do you have anyone who wishes to speak?
And just to be extra sure, if there is somebody online who wishes to speak, please raise your hand.
There's no one that's signed up before.
Yeah, but we'll double check it with a simple raising of hand. Okay, great.
Didn't see Zach's name there?
Okay, is this finished then?
Sure, but he's not here to testify on this or to speak on this. He hasn't raised his hand. Okay, then that's it, unless you have further questions.
Okay, I will just say that I modified the name of the title of the application to include the awning, which wasn't there before. The next application is for 348 West 12th Street to replace the metal capped lintels and sills at the front facade. You may begin when you're ready, and please say your name and your firm.
Sullivan is doing as the center.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much.
We need an elevation. We're not getting a picture.
We are.
Am I coming up for everyone? I haven't shared my screen yet, so I can go ahead and do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so that should be showing for everyone now.
We see it. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Hi, good evening. My name is Kiva O'Sullivan, and I'll be presenting today on behalf of the building owner at 248 West 12th
Excuse
Street.
me, can you make the picture the full size? We're getting
Yeah.
thumbnails and a lot of.
No
Okay.
problem. There we go.
Thank you.
So apologies. My name's Kiva O'Sullivan, and I'll be presenting today on behalf of the building owner, Carlos Saavedra. And our application today is short and it addresses the replacement of the existing metal cap lintels and sills at 248 West 12th Street. As many of you are aware, 248 West 12th Street is located in the historic district of Greenwich Village. And here we have a map of the neighborhood showing the location of our property, which is up there in the top north of the map. Constructed in 1852, 248 West 12th Street is a Greek Revival style townhouse, which now features Italianate and Neo-Greek architectural modifications. The historic tax photo shown here on the left captures the building's 1940s conditions, while the photo on the right shows the building today. While the metal cap lintels and sills appear in the historic 1940s tax photo, they are not original to the building and were likely added in the late 19th century due to changing fashions in architecture. Our application proposes to remove these deteriorating metal cap lintels and sills and replace them with brownstone. And here you see an elevation of the existing front facade on the left alongside the proposed conditions. I will also note at this point that we have already received LPC approval to remove the paint from the front facade, so the proposed brownstone details will complement the newly revealed brick nicely and support the wider restoration of the front facade to its original conditions. So up in the top left-hand corner, we have a sample of the brownstone stucco that would be used for the new proposed lintels and sills. This would be constructed as a three-coat stucco system on top of a concrete substrate. So next, I've drafted some enlarged details of the newly proposed brownstone lintels and sills alongside the existing metal cap details. The details shown capture the larger header above the entry door alongside a typical lintel and sill detail. The dimensions for the proposed brownstone details will match those at 246 West 12th Street, which actually went through a similar application in 2019 and was approved following commission review. I will emphasize that we did carry out a thorough conditions assessment of the existing metal cap lintels and sills prior to making any proposed amendments. And as you can see from these photos, the existing metal caps show severe wear. This is particularly evident on the lower floors, where you can see considerable peeling and delamination of the paint. So as previously mentioned, our neighbours at 246 West 12th Street did apply for similar works in 2019 as part of a larger application, and they were approved by Landmarks following the review. The image displayed here shows that when they actually went to remove the metal caps, the original profile of the brownstone was revealed underneath. So as a result, while we will be in a similar position where we won't be able to see what's underneath until we remove them, our proposed details right now mimic the approved details at 246 West 12th Street. Finally, if we zoom out further and look at the rest of the block, brownstone lintels and sills decorate most of the neighbouring properties. As a result, the proposed brownstone details at 248 West 12th Street would tie in with the context of the block and aid in restoring the front facade at 248 to its original condition. With that, my presentation is concluded and I'm happy to take any questions.
Is it simple to say you're returning this to the original historic condition? Okay.
Yes. So obviously it went through a lot of modifications and it's not
right.
for sure,
You
but
just
the late,
undo a bit of it.
Yeah, but we're restoring it to its original condition. And the brick will be fully restored as well. So it will look similar in finish to its neighbor, 246.
Okay, thank you. Chenault, do you have any other questions?
No, I'm fine.
All right, anybody on the committee have any questions? No, it seems like,
I have a quick question. Why is it that the metal lintels, especially above the door, were so wide? Do you know?
In the existing conditions? I don't know. To be honest, it looks like the metal lintel above the door was either restored or painted more recently than the rest. It looks in better condition. But it was a similar condition at the neighboring property prior to the restoration of the brownstone, where that installed metal lintel was just much larger than what would have been there prior with the brownstone. The brownstone was a lot simpler, which was in time in with its, Greek revival style. And then as architectural fashions changed, these more decorative lintels got installed in a number of houses throughout the neighborhood. As like quick, I suppose, keeping up with the fashion.
And the reason you have to come to a hearing is because it's modified from the profile of the metal lintel, right?
So the reason this is going into a public hearing is because the modifications were done prior to the 1940s. So it is recognized, that the metal lintels are still historic to the building. And that is why we are going through the hearing process, despite it being a restoration project.
Well, if you match them exactly, they wouldn't have made you go to a hearing. So that's what triggered it, I think.
Oh, well, the metal lintels, I believe, are enlarged from what would have been there originally.
Yeah, I understand.
Similar to the neighbor, yeah. They aren't,
But just
the
wondering
profiles
why it's
are
coming
not the same.
before us, that's all, yeah.
No problem.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody, I assume there's nobody here who, okay, thanks. Anybody from the public who wishes to ask a question or opine, please either sign the spreadsheet or raise your hand.
Spreadsheet and I don't see.
Okay, great. So that does it then. Thank you very much, Kiva. Short and sweet.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
You too.
The next application is 639 Hudson Street. To replace all existing windows, reclad the penthouse, straighten a wall on the roof, relocate 3 chimneys, and remove the roof deck. When you're ready, please.
Hello, do I have audio? Hello?
Hello, yes.
Hello, do I have audio? Oh, great.
We're not,
Hello, everyone.
if you just share
Yeah.
your screen, we'll see that. And
Yeah.
please state your name and the firm.
Of course. Well, for starters, thank you for letting us present. Since you can't see my face, I thought I'd drop in a headshot. My name is Mark Barak. I'm a principal at DTLS Architecture. And I'm joined on Zoom with our clients, Laura and Ben. Laura is a member of the SLA2 committee, and they're longtime residents of the village. Also online is the project manager, Akash. And we're here to discuss the proposed visible penthouse restoration relocation located at 639 Hudson Street in the village. So let's just get into it. The building is located on the corner of Horatio and Hudson. So it's a prominent corner. It kind of straddles the West Village and the meatpacking district. And it has a unique history. In the 1940s, it was a parking area. In the 80s, it was a maintenance garage. But more recently, in 2003, Landmark approved the proposal for a new building. It's 4 stories with a penthouse, and it's a mixed-use building. And what we wanted to kind of focus on today is the top of the building. When you look at the building today, you can see that there's a parapet cap and a visible penthouse that is clad with stucco. You can also see some of the mechanical ducts, which are visible as you move north on Hudson Street. Zooming in on the actual penthouse itself, it's a patchwork of different materials and openings. There's very little design intent to the way that it was arranged, and it's fallen into disrepair. As you move your way around the deck, there's 3 chimney stacks, which break up the continuity and flow of the deck itself. And we wanted to create a proposal that creates order and rationality to the roof of the building. We prepared a full-size mock-up, which is still visible today. And if you see what's been built in the mock-up, it's only a modest change to what's visible from the street. So you really have to kind of go down Horatio or up Hudson to see any of the modifications that we're making. When you go further east on Horatio, it still shows how little visibility you get of the bulkhead
Sir,
penthouse
could you
addition.
increase the size of these individual
Of
pictures?
course,
Or these pairs of
there you
individuals?
go. Is that better?
Oh, good. Yes, please. Oh, good. Thank you.
Of course. And let me know if you want me to go back on any of them. So if you look in this image here, you can see that our proposal is only slightly accentuating the existing penthouse. And I'd also like to reiterate that we're not changing any of the heights of the penthouse. When you move east on Horatio, you can start to see some of the chimneys, which are sort of floating in the middle of the roof. And you can see some of the proposal, which we're placing on the east facade of the penthouse. It's a real more substantial difference when you get on the roof itself. What we're trying to do is create more of a rational system of openings and geometry. And also by moving these 3 chimney stacks closer to the penthouse, it creates a more consolidated massing while making these 3 chimney stacks even less visible from the street. We'd like to confirm that when you're standing directly across Hudson Street or Horatio Street, you do not see any of the penthouse. It's only when you go further east, north, or west that you can start to see it. Looking at our geometry, we wanted to create something that's more rational and practical, and also to have window openings that are more consistent with the rest of the building. By doing that, we were able to create new window openings and also a cladding system which is more reminiscent of the industrial heritage of the area. Most importantly, moving these chimneys over creates less of a visual block between the east and west portions of the deck. We didn't want to end there though. We really weren't happy with the material of the current penthouse. So we wanted to find materials that were in the same rich heritage as the meatpacking in the West Village. So we ended up using porcelanosa materials in oxide brown and tourmaline black because we felt it would reinforce some of the industrial heritage of the site. The other thing that we wanted to do was create a sort of rational intention to the way that the penthouse is designed. If you look right now, it's sort of a chattered line, and there's very little concept or intention to the way that it was made outside of the practical realizations of making the space work. Our proposal is to create a sleeve that runs from west to east and creates a more unified facade when you're looking at it from within the upper deck or when you're looking at it from outside the building.
Sir, while
other
you're here,
thing-
I'm sorry to
oh, sorry.
interrupt. If you go back one slide,
Sure.
while we're here is a good chance to get this, is that the actual size and footprint is not changed, and the only thing you're doing is pulling the sort of artist skylight out and filling out to the existing wall line, the replacement window.
So right now, this is a canted roof, and it's also a Corten steel facade. Our intention is to create a vertical space that's more of a wall so that it has more consistency. That's correct. In fact, we're not changing the overall square footage of the space at all.
Sorry, if you continue, please.
Thank you. The other item is that there is a metal parapet cap. And I'd like to reiterate that this was a building that was built in 2003, so it doesn't have any historic significance. And at this point, the parapet cap has fallen into disrepair. Our intention is to remove it to create a more clean brick facade, as these images kind of reinforce. The last and most important thing was to create a design that really has value for not only the building, but for the neighborhood as a whole. We feel that by reskinning this penthouse, it'll actually add more to the history of the neighborhood, as well as creating a more rational design that won't be as awkward to look at when you're in an adjacent building. The material palette that we've chosen is something that was really pulled from the history of the neighborhood, but we also think that this is a durable material that won't require as much maintenance and won't have the same wear and tear issues as some of the existing materials on the penthouse. And then our window scheme is being pulled from the window openings below so that it'll have more consistency rather than haphazard openings which are currently in place. Our overall intention is not to make a dramatic change for the building, but just to create something that's cleaner and more organized. We really love this neighborhood and we're really appreciative that you gave us the time to present. Thank you so much.
Okay, Susan, I have no other questions.
You have no other questions? Okay. Thank you for your presentation. Anybody on the committee have any?
What's the material on the roof decking?
That's a great question. While Landmarks doesn't have much of a say in what we're doing, we still wanted to create material that was sort of indicative of the concept for the roof. So we're going to be using pavers that are 3 different materials. They're all going to be cement pavers, but they're different wood looks, some of which are more bleached out and some which are a little bit more of a natural finish. And they'll be sleeved together to create a filigree on the floor of the roof.
Thank you.
Brian?
All right, thank you, Mr. Barrick. I appreciated the presentation. I like that choice of the exterior wall cladding that you're showing there. I think that would be very effective. My one question is about the coping and taking off that embellishment of a faux kind of a fascia. Is going to leave just a very thin line at the top of the wall. And I'm a little concerned about that. It seems like it's even thinner than the window headers. And that doesn't seem to be the right proportion. So I'm wondering if that top coping stone or material could be thicker to emphasize the top of the wall.
Actually, I think that's a really valid point. We've been working with our Landmark staff representative on how to approach this. And we knew we were going to have to do repair work on this stone layer because of the fact that the metal brackets are attached. So I think it does have value that if we're going to be replacing it, we could put a thicker parapet cap around the perimeter of the building. I think it would give it a little bit more scale and proportion, and it would definitely tie in with the other buildings a little bit better.
And by the way,
That's to bring the level up to the required height for a railing.
That's a great question. Right now, it's already over. So even if we were to remove it using the existing parapet cap, we would still have an appropriate amount of guardrail height.
And is it being kept for some design reason?
Yes, well, I mean, who knows what people were thinking in 2003, but it could have been that the idea of this ornament was thought that it would be more of a reflection of the other pre-war buildings in the neighborhood. As I mentioned, we've been working with our LPC staff member, and he doesn't feel like it currently has any relevance to it. And if anything, the fact that it's fallen into disrepair really detracts from the neighborhood. And he feels confident that when we go to a public hearing, that we won't get much pushback from the commissioners.
if I may follow up on Chanel's
In the
question,
corners.
your detail there shows without the ornamental metal on top of the coping stone, you only have 36-inch height, and I believe my understanding is that you need 42 on a public roof.
Oh, you know, I appreciate that. I apologize. I think that was just a typo on our end. When we measured it, we should have more than enough for us to have pedestal paver systems. And also because of our DOB filing, we'll have to make sure that whatever we leave once the pavers are in place, we'll have the minimum requirement of 42 inches.
Thank you.
Arturo?
Yeah, I just wanted to second what Brian was saying about the metal parapet. It does look a little odd without it. Like it's just the top was removed somehow, and I think looking at neighboring buildings, what it maybe is trying to do is reflect the classical cornices
Yeah,
cornices
it's not a-
in the neighborhood. And so I would also, call that out as something that doesn't really seem to match either the original building or the neighborhood.
Anita?
Yes, on the same point, it looks bare. It just looks bare. It looks like it's lost its cornice. And we are sad when we see that because it doesn't sort of celebrate how the building meets the sky. It doesn't give you a shadow line. So I just wondered if you had, aside from removing it, which I can see why it's causing a lot of problems, why we couldn't get a new cornice that's easier to take care of and maybe more traditional. This was kind of a out of the box thinking with the space and all of that. But it looks, you're saying it's a post-war building, but it wasn't designed to reflect that era. It was designed to fit in with the sort of the West Village massing and materials. So I would prefer if there was something new added back.
No, I actually think that's a valid point that when this building was submitted to landmarks, they definitely had taken an approach of sort of streamlining some of the traditional detail and ornament that was on the pre-war buildings in the village. And while some of the elements worked well, it could just be that this decision that was made, or maybe it was even value engineered during construction, hasn't held up as well as the rest of the building has. And I think we would be happy to work with landmarks on creating a solution that's both appropriate and elegant.
Great.
It's good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there?
I also,
Sorry, go ahead, please.
I just want to reiterate that our clients, Ben and Laura, who are on the call, that they are really love the neighborhood. They love everything about the village. And I think that they have a personal vested interest in maintaining the character of the area. So I can't imagine they would want to do anything that would detract from it.
Okay, thank you. Brian?
Well, and likewise, we would also thank Laura for spending her time and energy and talents rendering service to the community on the community.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
We all agree. Is there anybody from the community online who, Zach? Yeah. Go ahead, Zach.
Muted.
Okay, I should be, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I had one comment about this application, and it does involve what's being described as the parapet cap. I was present at the 2003 CB2 Landmark Committee hearings, and I think at the LPC hearings on this building. And when I saw this application, I was shocked that it was just removed with no apparent explanation or reason. Very obviously, that parapet cap was supposed to be a contemporary modern reference to the traditional cornice. And it's that cornice-like thing at the top that gives this building some sense of place, some sense of relationship, both to its immediate neighbors and to the community as a whole. And with that cap stripped off, the building now looks placeless, and it looks like a building which used to have a cornice, and the cornice fell into disrepair and was a danger to passersby, and the building owner stripped it off because they were too cheap to try and fix it or replace it. I'm not necessarily in love with the specific design of cornice or parapet cap that was used in 2003. Mm-hmm. I think it was an attempt to sort of create a sort of an abstract reference. I think it worked, but if the applicant wants to try and modify that and have some other kind of cornice or cornice-like ornament on top, that could possibly work. But there has to be something there. Simply stripping it off and leaving the building as is really detracts from, you know, what had been, I thought, a quite pleasant and quite appropriate building, and seems like a major step backward in terms of the historic appropriateness. So thank you.
Thanks, Zach. Anybody else? Doesn't appear to be anybody else.
The visibility is minimal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, are we finished, Susan?
We are.
Okay. The next application is 675 Hudson Street
Thank you.
to
Thank
remove
you.
the
Thank you.
billboard and construct a rooftop addition, modify the ground floor
Here.
openings, and construct an exterior vestibule. Install new multi-light windows and louvers.
Drawings up?
Um,
We need drawings.
Please turn off your
Oh, you're presenting? All right, well, you can come back. You come back.
previous
Sorry.
applicant.
I thought you were presenting.
Sorry.
No worries. Sometimes we get people who present in person, so it wouldn't have been that unusual.
Sorry, Charlotte, there was a little confusion. Go for it.
Have we gotten the sound straightened out?
Yes, Cass is with us. Hi, Cass.
Hey, everybody. Hi,
Okay,
nice to see you this evening.
I'm reading the application. We're not
Yes.
ready yet. 675 Hudson Street. The application is to remove the billboard, construct a rooftop addition, modify ground floor openings, and construct an exterior vestibule. Install a new multi-light windows and louvers, carry out interior reframing and excavation and masonry restoration. I'd like to say some words to the public before we start. We regret that the application has not been available to the public for review and to make comments on time. It was submitted after the usual deadline, and the committee has been placed in the uncomfortable position of obliged to do so because the meeting is very likely to be held by the Landmarks Preservation Commission to hear this application prior to the May committee and board meetings. The mock-up of the rooftop addition was only in place yesterday afternoon. Again, as with the application, we expect a mock-up to be in place sufficiently ahead of the meeting to give the public an opportunity to see it. Several members of the committee have been able to visit the site today so that we have reliable firsthand accounts about the impact of the rooftop addition. I would like to remind both the public and the applicant that the landmarks hearing does not concern the use of the building apart from a simple statement of what the use is and how it affects particular aspects of the work to be done. Thank you. Okay, please proceed.
Thank you, Chanel.
I'm not getting, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with the pictures here.
Okay, we haven't started to
Is it-
share. We are just now sharing.
Okay, yes, it's.
Yes, here we
okay.
go. Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. Cass Stackelberg from Higgins Quays Barth and Partners. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight to you. And I'm joined by our client, Katie Roper, who is on the Zoom, as well as Todd Poisson, the design lead and principal at BKSK. Todd and I will be making the presentation. Katie wanted to say a few words about Annabelle's, who will be occupying the entire building at a British firm, and would like to kind of introduce who they are to the community. Before Katie jumps on, I do want to just sort of provide a brief summary of the site and the scope. The building, I'm sure you all know well, on the northeast corner of the Gansevoort Market Historic District. It's bound by 4 blocks, 14th Street, 13th Street, 9th Avenue, and Hudson Street. It's on an unusual triangular shaped lot at the northern edge of the district. The building was actually constructed in 2 phases. Originally, the first phase of work, which represents basically the southern 2/3 of the building, was constructed in 1849, and then an addition up to the prow, the northern point, completed sometime between 1854 and 1860. And the building was built as a manufacturing structure for the construction of safes. It was known as the Colonel Silas Herring Safe Factory. And it fit within what was a kind of mixed residential and industrial neighborhood even then in the middle of the 19th century. And Chanel, as you mentioned, the scope that we're proposing and sharing with you tonight involves removing that billboard on the upper roof, which has been there since prior to designation of the district in 2003. Construction excuse me, of a one-story rooftop addition, multi-lite windows and louvers, modifications around the ground floor, subgrade work, and then an extensive scope of restoration, including restoring the cornice that has been missing off of the 9th Avenue side for a long time, and extensive brick and masonry restoration throughout. And with that, let's go to the next slide. And Katie, would you like to share a little bit about Annabelle's?
No problem. Good evening. I'm Katie from Annabelle's. I'm also joined on the call by my colleagues.
Very briefly, please, this is use and it's not something we consider.
Okay, no problem. So just
very brief, please, with this.
A bit of background on Annabelle's. Annabelle's first opened its doors in Mayfair in 1963. In London, we currently reside in a Grade 1 listed building built in the mid-1700s. A lot of those features are still throughout the club to this day. Annabelle's is very much a home away from home. It's a place for people to feel inspired and at ease. I'll go back to you, Cass.
Very good. Thank you, Katie. So the committee may remember that there was an application that came before you in November of 2023 for a complete rehab of the building and conversion of the building for retail use. And that included extensive painted signage. And this is the ultimate approved design, not what you saw, but what was approved at the public meeting at Landmarks in 2024. But it included painted signage on the outside, an enlarged elevator bulkhead retaining the billboard on the roof, and some significant changes across the base of the building to create large scale storefront openings and canopies and such. The committee back then denied almost all aspects of that application, I think only supporting the restoration and the enlarged bulkhead on the roof. That project fell by the wayside, and Annabelle's it now owns the building and will be occupying it. And the program is now for food and beverage use for the building. Let's go to the next slide. So this is a rendering of the proposal and a few things to highlight for you. So looking at the main volume of the historic building, as I mentioned, extensive restoration across all 4 facades, restoration of the cornice and removal of the billboard, and construction of a metal and glass rooftop addition with mechanicals and elevator bulkhead down to the south end, down by the Gansevoort Hotel. And the design is really very much tied to the history of change in this district and supporting this new use. As you know, the district, since its designation in 2003, has been seen as this sort of design district in many ways, and the commission has regulated this district differently than any other historic district in the city. And the designation report really acknowledges the differences that took place at the buildings in this district, particularly this notion of adaptive reuse. And since the second quarter of the 19th century, the adaptations of buildings, the changes to buildings to support these new uses, whether they were market uses or other now more contemporary uses seen in the 19th and into the 20th century, as well as this sort of last phase of development that the designation report speak to about sort of more of a sort of nightlife and sort of vibrancy in this district that didn't exist when it was perhaps more of an industrial use. So this district, as you know, has a different sort of quality. It borders Greenwich Village, the Greenwich Village Historic District, and that district, Horatio Street and Gansevoort share the same block. That district is regulated very differently. And we feel that this design and this project really encompasses the sort of vibrancy that one sees and the excitement that one sees throughout the district. And we think that the project that we're proposing and sharing with you tonight really is an enhancement to and will become a part of the district. Next slide. This is a photograph of the building from 2003 when the building was designated. The building more or less looks as it did 23 years ago, and some just background information about the building, its historic name and dates of construction, and some of the alteration history that took place prior to designation. Next slide. An existing view along 9th Avenue. The cornice was removed, obviously, and there's just this blank sheet metal which will be removed and will be replicating in a pressed metal detail matching the existing cornice. restoring that cornice line. I'll also just point out, and I'll draw on the zoom here, is that if you look right here, there's a seam in that brick pier that actually defines the two halves of the building, the original 1840s piece and then the later 1850s piece. Let's go to the next slide. And then coming around to the south and west side, so this is the 13th Street elevation on the left, and then this broad plaza that extends into 9th Avenue. The curb line is probably 75 feet off of the building line, maybe 60 feet. And you see that in the foreground in the image on the right. Next slide. As I mentioned, there's an extensive restoration scope that's planned for the project. The lintels and sills, which are brownstone, some have been covered, some have been replaced completely with wood. Those will be replaced. They'll be replaced in cast stone, matching the texture and color and quality of the underlying brownstone. The brick masonry has largely been cut and pointed and will be repaired throughout. I mentioned the cornice. Across the base in the photo on the lower middle and lower right, the base of the historic original portion of the building, there's a granite water table. And then in the northern portion of the building, that water table changes to brownstone. Those elements will be restored and will be retained, obviously, to sort of echo the phased construction of this building as part of the overall restoration program. Next slide. A series of photographs now coming around the building. I'll just make the general point that the ground floor has been really beat up over time. And we're looking to do restoration to the openings, sort of bring back a little bit of regularity to the openings, which have been cut up and filled with block and painted, and bringing back a little bit of coherence to the base of the building. This is the 9th Avenue elevation. Next slide. This is the Hudson Street elevation. We intend to retain that metal cornice line that divides the ground floor and the upper floors, but to really repair the base of the building, which has roll down gates and conduit and security cameras and all kinds of stuff, and bring back some character and quality and texture to the base of the building. Next slide. And then the 13th Street side, there are areaways remaining, and there were much more significant areaways around this building historically. We're looking to reestablish some of those, but I'll just point those out in the photo in the lower left and the middle on the bottom, and then just some of the accretions that one sees across the base of the building on the lower right. Next slide. A map from the 1850s showing the building in its complete form as it is today, and we include this really just to illustrate, and I think it speaks to the way the original building was detailed, is that this building was sitting kind of in between a residential scale neighborhood to the south and to the east, with sort of small scale, probably federal style houses, and then a sort of an increasingly industrial neighborhood to the west with coal yards called out. But it seems to really, in its design and articulation, look to sort of almost have a domestic quality to it in its original detailing. Next slide. And that's seen in this photograph. This is the earliest photo of the building from 1855, prior to the extension to the north. And then the image on the right is a print from the 1860s, which may represent, it's a print, not a photograph, but it seems to represent the full extent of the historic building. And it also sort of hints at some interesting things up on the roof, this cupola, maybe this pedimented, very tall parapet that perhaps one day, someday actually lined the upper portion of the building before the cornice was installed. Sorry, just getting rid of that. Next slide. This is a detail of that 1850s photograph, and I just point out a few things: the multi-lite windows, the kind of texture that comes with that, and then that delicate railing around the areaways, and the way that one would pass from the sidewalk across this almost bridge into the building. But there was a sort of a consistent rhythm across the base. Larger openings on the ground floor, and then sort of almost residential scale openings, multi-lite double hung windows on the upper floors. Next slide. We put this together just to illustrate some of the sort of advertisements. Herring was a significant safe manufacturer, and the safe plate on the far right was kind of inspirational for us in a way. In particular, the geometries involved in the furnace and the opening to the furnace that you can see in the back, that sort of mix of curvilinear and rectilinear forms that were at the heart of the manufacture of safes by Colonel Herring. Next slide. Some historic photographs of the district. This is a view on the left looking north up 9th Avenue from Gansevoort Street and then south down Washington Street. And the idea, just as you all know, how transportation really shaped this district. So on the left, really that's pedestrian transportation, the city's first elevated line going up 9th Avenue. And then of course, the New York Central's High Line on the right, tying into the market uses and the trucking and the industry and food related history of the district, which shaped 675 Hudson as well as nearly all the other buildings in the district. Next slide. And then a few other photographs. These are views looking north up 9th Avenue. 675 Hudson is on the far right of the right photograph. And this is from the 19-teens. And we were really sort of struck by both this sort of stacked quality of the elevated line, the presence of that elevated station, that sort of Victorian era elevated station at 14th Street, and just the sort of textures and detailing that came with that. Next. Photos of the building from the end of the 20th century. The building really sort of moved from food and dairy and eggs and sort of the typical market uses to one that was more sort of club use. The building had a number of clubs in the lower levels of the building that were quite well known, famous. I wouldn't say infamous, I'd say famous. And so this building, like so many other buildings in the district, sort of evolved into these new uses and adapted to them. Next slide. This is a collection of advertisements just showing all the different kind of uses that occurred in this building. And it goes from the 1890s to a flour, butter, and creamery distribution, to machine parts, to self-playing pianos, and then in the lower right, the Hellfire Club and the Manhole Club, which were prominent clubs in the building at the end of the 20th century. Next slide. And then before I finish and Todd picks up, just the designation report for the Gansevoort Market Historic District is a fantastic document, and it speaks about this sort of phases of evolution in the district and breaks down from the early 19th century to present day, these four phases: the early development, so the conversion of residential scale buildings to industrial and market uses, to the Gansevoort market phase, where the buildings in the district were kind of in service to the Gansevoort market, which was just to the west of the existing district, the meatpacking district, and then this last phase of development, the 1970s to the present. It's not 1970s to 2000, it's to the present. And that's kind of an indication of how the commission has thought about this district. It is an evolving district. It doesn't have an end to a period of significance. It continues to the present. And the commission has regulated the district and changes to the district with that in mind. And we include that photograph of 837 Washington Street to sort of symbolize that. And let's go to the next slide just to illustrate sort of how the commission has looked at additions to buildings in this district. Obviously, very different than the district directly to the south in Greenwich Village and districts elsewhere in the CB2 area, as well as throughout the city. So, significant additions. This is one of the first additions in the district at the Diane von Furstenberg headquarters over on Washington and 14th Street. The next slide. On 9 to 19 9th Avenue. This addition on this large scale 2-story brick parking garage. Next slide. The building over at 837 Washington, this 2-story market building with this significant tall addition atop the roof. Next slide. And then this last image, a 3-story addition on West 13th Street on a 3-story arts and crafts building. So really just to illustrate kind of how the buildings in the district have evolved, how the district itself has evolved through commission review and regulation. And with that, I'll hand it to Todd.
Thanks, Cass. So I'm Todd.
Cass, before we do that, I just want to clear up one thing for mine. The 1850 condition is being used as the model for the ground floor restoration. Is that correct?
We're looking to that photograph as a reference for the areaways and the sort of articulation of the windows. Yes, generally speaking.
And the entrance and the several entrances that almost look like maisonettes. All of that.
Right. I'm not sure if they exactly align with the historic openings. There are many openings across the ground floor currently.
The design, not the
concept. Yeah. I mean, there's in those historic photographs, there are 2 or 3 steps up at each entry. Obviously, we have at-grade entries to meet accessibility requirements, but the spirit, yes.
Hi, everybody. I'm Todd Poisson, partner at BKSK. So reorienting ourselves to the site, existing photo on the right, existing roof plan with context on the left, showing various existing rooftop structures such as the billboard armature, mechanical dunnage, bulkheads, and railings. As Cass pointed out, and as you likely know, there's no cornice along the 9th Avenue side currently. At the ground plane, the site plan indicates a large existing underground sidewalk vault extending west up Page, all of the way to the far edges of the existing planters, shown in the darker gray Belgian block paving area along 9th Avenue, and another vault to the east along part of the Hudson Street frontage. The proposed conditions, rendering on the right, with the proposed roof plan showing our proposed scope from above, a metal and glass rooftop addition held off from the inside face of the restored cornice, the proposed new cornice now surrounding the full building, the elevator and mechanical bulkheads to the left anchor the roof plan to the south. We'll talk more later about the proposed sidewalk level scope in detail, but here you can see on the 9th Avenue side, new retractable awnings on either side of a new proposed entry vestibule. You can also see shaded white on the Hudson Street side and elsewhere are new sidewalk areaways in historic areaway locations. Now we have a series of existing on top and proposed on the bottom elevations. This is the 9th Avenue elevation. The existing billboard extends 37 feet, 3 inches vertically above the cornice line. The existing aluminum 1/1 double hung windows and fire escapes are to be removed. The proposed elevation on the bottom shows the metal and glass rooftop addition nestled against the elevator and mechanical bulkhead. The bulkhead is 20 feet 5 inches to the top and is clad in a zinc metal panel. The glass enclosure peaks at 18 feet 4 inches above the cornice and tapers down towards the north, alluding to in section and elevation what the triangular site does in plan. All the windows are replaced, and among them are several louvers behind simulated double-hung window frames. The louver locations are the darker shaded windows under the cornice line at the north end. You'll see those on other elevations as well. Similar items here to note on the Hudson Street facade. Again, we'll show more detail later about the proposed ground floor scope on all 3 major facades and how it recalls the building's 19th century condition in that spirit that we were just talking about, with areaways and a variety of windows and doors. Shown at the roof is the long eastern flank of the roughly symmetrical glass and metal bulkhead rooftop addition. And you can see at the northern tip of the roof, powder-coated metal planters. The existing fire escapes are to be removed. The proposed restored areaways and areaway fences continue around the 13th Street elevation, as does the same approach of being inspired by that 19th century ground floor condition in terms of window sizes and the location of a service door. When seen in pure elevation from the north, the rooftop addition's form can be seen to have been generated by the site's geometry, with the nose tapering down with triangular glass panels. You can also sense how the rooftop addition's glass volume billows out and curves down to that roof line, helping it visually separate itself from the base building. Although not in the district, we've been inspired by historic metal and glass rooftop construction elsewhere and the tradition of enclosed rooftop garden spaces, such as the 19th century Casino Theater roof garden on Broadway. A signature space of Annabelle's London, in fact, is the rooftop garden, and the rooftop space of our proposal aims to offer a similar signature space. The fanciful Victorian age elevated rail station Cass mentioned, like this one at Christopher Street, was very similar to the one at 14th Street at our site. Now we'll walk around the building. The top existing conditions photo includes the mock-up of the rooftop addition, and the rendered street view is on the bottom. So this is the 9th Avenue. And just to note, you can see a gap in the mock-up where the billboard armature and the bulkheads are in the way of our pipe scaffolding, but the renderings fill in those blanks. That's what the mock-up axon is on the right, upper right depicts that gap where the billboard and other stuff is existing. Our intention the intention for this reborn building is to really create a new symbolic gateway to the district with this restored landmark building base and an elegant glass enclosed roof garden on top. The spacing and rhythm of the structural arches for the dome and metal details at the glass are drawn directly from the window spacing below, as well as from the staggered nature of the cornice brackets and panels. And that cornice detail echoes in the ladder-like horizontal metalwork in the glass, which stitches the lower zone of the glass enclosure to the vaulted glass roof above. and also marks the top of the stair bulkheads at the south end. So meanwhile, the three-dimensional form of the glass addition purposely billows, like we mentioned a minute ago, slightly curving out as it reaches the roof line. Like I just said, in an effort to visually separate itself from the restored brick building below. So while the vertical metal details of the glass dome are drawn from patterns below to anchor it to this specific building, the contemporary form allows it to separate itself at the same time. You can also see here the ground floor entry vestibule, the proposed entry vestibule, awnings, and new windows and louvers. From the north, where you can really see the sense of the triangular nature of the site and how it generates the form above. Zooming in a bit on that view, there's a small occupiable roof terrace at the northernmost tip of the roof behind the planters. From the northeast, you could see the tapered form of the roof in section. The metal details along the long sides of the addition echo historic district details of elevated rails and other rooftop elements. On Hudson Street, replacing the billboard with a tapered silhouette. So the building behind our backs, and Cass alluded to this, but the building behind our backs in this view is residential. And we really like how the 19th century factory ground floor of 675 Hudson had an almost residential scale to it, with divided light windows and areaways and entry bridges over the areaways, creating almost residential rhythm to the facade facing a more residential area. And so that's what you see here across the street. From the southeast, you can trace the metal work of the glass addition around the corner, connecting the two southern stair towers in that same glass language. We're going to zoom into this corner, the ground floor corner, in a minute. But again, on the roof, here's the stair bulkheads terminate at each of the southern corners behind the glass, and the glass wraps at their top with an enclosed glass enclosed lookout in between. On the south end, seen from across 13th Street, the ground floor recalls its 19th century window pattern and location of the service door. And the rooftop glass roof line indicates the top of the stairs and the elevator lobby, allowing visitors up on the roof, allowing them views out from that level before they turn to the rooftop, into the rooftop garden space. Those rooftop visitors to the roof then turn toward this corner and then turn into the rooftop space, which propels them north towards the tapered end. We're following the currently approved LPC interior structural removal scheme on the left that creates two double height floors, topped with a single height below the proposed roof addition. You could also see a deeper proposed excavation on the right side, the proposal, lowering the cellar floor and adding a subcellar. This is the same proposal on the right side, but with the existing condition on the left as opposed to the currently approved scheme. Same idea here, but cross-sectionally, you could see where we are also proposing to lower the sidewalk vault floor levels on both the 9th Avenue and Hudson Street sides. Again, proposal on the right, existing condition on the left. There are 8 operable glass panels on the top of the glass roof, opening as the arrows indicate on this roof plan. These are larger scale sections of the roof, longitudinally on the top, showing the tapered form inspired by the geometry of the site, and 2 cross sections below, one through the operable roof panels and one toward the northern tapered end. So we're going to zoom in now onto that section on the right now, to some construction details of the rooftop addition. These are by our engineer partners at Burrow Happold and Farina Reefer. The primary structural arches carrying the glass are 16 inches deep and 4 inches wide, tube steel arched members. There's an 18-inch wide gutter zone between the glass and the inside edge of the restored cornice for storm control and maintenance. Now we want to return to the ground floor and discuss how describe how the building hits the ground among those proposed sidewalk areaways. The proposed Hudson Street ground floor elevation features the restored areaways and areaway fences, interrupted by bridges to the ground floor at intervals similar to the 1850s factory ground floor condition, with infill brick restoration to create the masonry openings of the 19th century as well, or similar to that condition. We're also proposing a replaced painted metal cornice at the second floor around the building that Cass pointed out. Also at the ground level of 9th Avenue, proposing to this same idea of recalling the spirit of the 1850s character in terms of a mixture of smaller windows aligning with those above, with some slightly larger windows. And in this case, 5 doors responding to the new food and beverage program within, and a new entry vestibule. This is that southeast corner that the historic photo that Cass showed us, both in 1855 and in 2022. And then on the right side, now the proposed condition with restored areaways and the historic pattern of fenestration, areaways, and doors. All the new and remaining areaway fences are proposed to be replaced with a wrought iron fence, echoing the historic areaway fence. There's a fair amount of infill at the ground floor being proposed to bring back the 19th century window sizes. The new areaways, and in the view on the left, you can see that the new areaways allow the brick of the cellar level to be visible again along Hudson Street. So this is a sample piece of the Hudson Street's new infill and window door program. It represents a kind of building-wide approach to the ground floor. The proposed vestibule on 9th Avenue is inspired by early 20th century versions of a sidewalk vestibule at the building, with specialty art class panels within a custom painted metal enclosure, with stamped metal base panels and decorative finials at the roof line with a signboard in between. These sheets simply document the window replacement program, so we won't dwell on them, but in the left side is the existing condition, the middle is proposed windows, and on the right are when those windows become louvers in those select areas. So this is elevation, before and after, section, before and after, and plan details of those 2 new conditions versus the existing on the left. Along 9th Avenue only, we're proposing surface-mounted light fixture sconces in a dark bronze patina finish, all penetrations through brick joints only. This is a collection of materials shown in all the views we've shared. We could come back with the questions. As mentioned, there's a current approval from LPC to remove all the interior structure to support the historic street walls with tower braces on concrete footings. After they're braced, the historic walls are decoupled from the interior structure, allowing the interior to be removed. Our proposal on the right is similar, same approach, but only adding piles under those tower braces, under the footings of the tower braces. Our engineer design partners at Ancora are here tonight to answer any questions related to this scope. These, in fact, are recent Ancora projects that followed a similar bracing approach to allow essentially new buildings to be built behind restored facades. And lastly, examples of multi-floor height interior spaces in the market district that are behind previously braced restored facades. So we'll leave it here. In closing, we feel this district has such a strong variety of building types and heights in the surrounding streetscapes that it can support the presence of this visible addition. Thank you. Yeah, you're muted, Chanel.
Exception.
No, you're muted.
Oh, sorry.
You're good now.
Nope. No, there you go.
Sorry, my phone went off. The slide we're seeing now is the only exception to this regular pattern of what almost looks like maisonette entrances. Is that correct?
There's still a fair amount of doors on this side to facilitate the program inside, and and it is different. It is purposely different. This is more of the commercial side of the building.
Right.
Versus
But this is the only, the rest of it that we don't see is all that regular pattern.
on Hudson, it's more regular.
Maybe go to the
It's not-
elevations, Tom. You want to go to like slide
Sure.
53? I
Right.
think it's easier, Chanel, to see it in elevation because there are a series of doors on both elevations.
Yeah. Go to, okay, let me get to 53.
I'm not trying to be specific so much as get the general thing to say.
Understood.
Oh, they're
So
there. Yes, no.
This
okay.
is 9th Avenue.
Okay,
So
that-
there's a fair amount of doors here, and then Hudson. So they both have 5 doors. They're just, and they're not, neither is super regular, but it's the spirit of
Right,
that. Yeah.
I'm only going to speak of it generally, not absolutely. Okay, thank you. I have nothing, Susan.
Okay. Why don't we start with Anita?
We'll start with Dana.
Oh, with Dina. Did you say?
Yeah,
When is the public?
we're going to do the system of Dana, the public, and then us last for this larger one.
Dina, the public, and then us. Okay, great. All right, Dina. You're being promoted.
Once you signed up.
Yes. Thank you, Mark.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for my creepy lighting here. Ignore that. My name is Dina Tasswinter, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of Village Preservation. Thank you, Chenault, and members of the committee for this opportunity. I'm going to speak tonight specifically to the rooftop addition. Village Preservation strongly opposes this proposed modern rooftop addition. We find it to be completely out of scale and out of context for the building, its setting, and for the historic district. And that's really for a few reasons. The precedent examples that were shown at the end of the presentation, I think it's really important to note the siting and placement of this specific building because it really stands out uniquely within the Gansevoort Market Historic District. Because of its triangular shape and its placement as kind of the entree into the district, it's extremely visible from many vantage points. And the tall, glassy rooftop addition would just kind of overtake that entrance view into the district and the transition point into the district. So that's one of our concerns about it. I also wanted to note that this is a uniquely important and prominent building within the Gansevoort Market Historic District, and its architectural design is integral to that importance. The addition is quite unharmonious with and has an unharmonious relationship to the building, we have found. And then finally, I pulled up the designation report for the district, and I do agree with Cass that this is a really interesting and critical report that really clarifies why the district was designated and all of these things. And I wanted to just quickly read part of the description for 675 Hudson Street. So to quote, "This vernacular neo-Grec style factory building, which is largely intact, contributes to the historically mixed architectural character and varied uses, including industrial and market-related functions of the Gansevoort Market Historic District. Built circa 1849 with the northern section added by 1860, it is the earliest extant purpose-built industrial building in the first phase of development of the historic district. It further contributes to the visual cohesion of the district through its unusual triangular shape and placement at a very prominent and wide intersection, and through its 3 brick and stone facades and late 19th century cornice," end quote. So just to conclude, I think the key points there are the statement that it contributes to the visual cohesion of the district due to its brick facades, and that again, it's the earliest extant purpose-built building in the first phase of development. I think it's just so important to retain that integrity of this building for that layer of history within Gansevoort Market. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Dina.
I would like to just add one thing here to what she said because it will make sense to say it now. The extent to which the rooftop addition is visible is from about 12th Street and Hudson Street, up Hudson Street and 9th Avenue to well into Chelsea, above 16th Street, and then moving down the west side to a point that is south of Gansevoort Street. Obviously getting bigger as you get closer and smaller as you get more distant. Thank you. And okay, Susan, the room, please.
Okay. I think you're on. Please tell us your name.
Do I come up here?
Yes, please. So we can hear you. There's. a microphone.
Sure. My name is Pauline Macios, and I have lived and worked in the district since 2002, so it's really a part of my life. While I do agree this building is in desperate need of renovation, I also agree that the addition of the glass structure at the top is invasive to the neighborhood. This triangle-shaped building is, as the woman who spoke before me, it really is an entree. It's the entrance into this district. And while there are some beautiful buildings in the neighborhood, it's a shame sometimes to see some of the structures being overtaken. The history is really being overtaken. It would be so lovely to preserve this historic part and let whatever happens deeper in the district or whatever has happened happen. I also feel that, if LPC allows a vertical addition here, that every other 2 or 3 story building left in the Gansevoort is at risk. Approving an addition at this scale on such a prominent individualistic building sets a dangerous precedent in the Gansevoort Market Historic District. It signals that the district's low-scale industrial sense of place is for sale, and encouraging other developers to cap historic structures with modern office or residential space. So I too strongly would disagree with allowing this large addition. And the photos, seeing the scaffolding go up in the last 2 days, it almost is bigger than it appears in photos. So that's my thought.
Thank you very much, Pauline. Appreciate it. Please.
Hi, I'm Georgia Bush, and I'm following on Pauline's remarks. I've been a resident of the neighborhood since 2007, and in that entire time in 345 West 13th Street, and you could see it in the photos, we are on the Hudson side. So we see this directly out of the window. I'm on the 3rd floor, so if I had the horror of watching the scaffolding going up and then got the information and was able to be here today. I strongly oppose the application for 675 Hudson Street for it, in particular for this vertical addition. It's too visible. Thank you, Chanel, for the actual data on that. It's too massive, and I think it's architecturally disrespectful, I guess, of the buildings of the nature of the neighborhood and its own historic. As Dina pointed out, this building is really unique. So we're not talking about some of the other structures that you put in your presentation. And I'm sure the Landmark Preservation Commission is going to highlight that. This is a very important building. So just to make 3 points, the first is that, and these are my sort of prepared remarks, so that's my alarm. Apologies for the alarm going off. It was never intended to be a high rise. It has a very special triangular shape. Adding a height to it and seeing the scaffolding, this is a map. It's very, it's huge. It will dominate the lower part of the building. There is no segue. I appreciate your presentation, but as a layperson, it is not harmonious at all. And it will basically put the historic building in subordination to a retractable, mechanistic, commercial modern hybrid. So both from what you presented here and the scale that I see with the scaffolding, it is not harmonious, and it will dominate the beautiful historic building that we have. The other point I wanted to make is that similar to what Pauline said, this is a gateway building. There are other vertical additions that have been done in the neighborhood, but this building is special. And so any vertical addition seems challenging to pass through the Land Preservation Commission. So thank you for your time and for the long presentation. A lot of it was on usage, which we are not covering in this meeting. We're only covering the visuals. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you. So thank you all for having me. My name is Michael Huber. I am the president of the residential building at 345 West 13th Street, which looks onto this building, and I'm here speaking on behalf of the board of the building. First of all, thanks to all of you on the community board. Like everyone, I was actually born in the city and lived in this complex. And I appreciate all the work that you all have done over the years. It's made a huge difference. I also appreciate some of the work that BKSK has done in other buildings in the neighborhood. I'm surprised at this proposal, given the other work that they've done. It's so out of character with the building. And there's a lot of hand waving about precedents, but I think if you look at the precedents, they all have setbacks, significant setbacks. They don't significantly alter the mass of the building. I think this adds 25% or more to the mass of the building. It's 20 feet tall. It's really 2 stories. They talk about it being 1 story. It's kind of a Disneyfication type of, it looks like the space shuttle's been dumped over on its side. It really doesn't have anything to do with the building. It's not, our neighborhood is Belgian block, steel, it's grit. It's so many things that this is just not. We're not a playground for people from London. And the purpose of the Landmarks Committee is to preserve the character of the neighborhood from people who don't live here coming in and abusing the fact that we live here. So I really, as much as they can pay people to pretend like this is in keeping with the neighborhood, it's really not. There's another thing that I really want the Landmarks Committee to focus on.
30 seconds, please.
This is a glass structure that for the entirety of the afternoon, the sun is going to bounce off of this glass because it's curved and it has no vertical surfaces. It's going to create a glare the entire day, starting at about 10:30 in the morning. When the sun peaks above our building, it's going to hit this glass. It's going to refract back. It's going to create glare. It's going to create heat. It's going to be a nuisance for our building. And that is not a use issue. It's a design issue. It's a fact that there's no setback, and it's the specific structure of the curve. I think it's actually going to create real issues for the livability of our space. I don't see any engineering work, and even if there were engineering work, as I'm sure that the owner of this project knows, in London, they built an entire building that acted as...
If you would wind up, please, sir.
And melts cars in the neighborhood. So I think that the structure of this building is fundamentally flawed at this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just make this real quick. My name's John Geddes. I also am in 345 West 13th. I don't look at this building. I look at it as a playground across the street. But I just want to say one thing. This building really is the welcome center of anyone coming down Ninth Avenue. You see it, you go, you exhale. I'm home. It's a different area. I worked in newspapers for a long time. And we used to have a saying about adding something superfluous to a story that didn't need it. We said, this was like putting lipstick on a pig. The roof of this is like putting lipstick on the pig. The building itself is welcoming, fine, beautiful. It doesn't need a wig on top.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Nope. Okay, we'll go to our members of the public who are online, and we'll start with Chloe Kane, please.
Hi there. My name is Chloe Tucker Kane, and I live in Chelsea with my family. I work in the neighborhood. We spend many a days walking up and down the street on the weekend. And I'm here to express my support for the proposed project at 675 Hudson. This is, as we all know, a very important historic building, but it has been in poor condition for a long time. And it's clear that it does need attention, and this proposal finally addresses that with a full restoration that feels very long overdue. I also personally really appreciate how the new addition has been designed. I think it fits with the character of the historic district and respects the mix of architectural styles that already make this neighborhood so special. And one of the big improvements, in my opinion, is the removal of the rooftop billboard. It's been an eyesore for years and really takes away from the streetscape that's so beautiful. And replacing it with a glass rooftop addition feels like a thoughtful upgrade. It brings a more modern element, but still blends in with the surrounding buildings in a cohesive way. And overall, I think this project strikes a strong balance between preserving history and making meaningful improvements. It enhances the look and feel of the district without compromising its character. And I hope the Manhattan Community Board will approve this proposal so these positive changes can finally move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Zach Weinstein, please.
Hi. Yeah, Zach.
Hi.
What?
Hi.
I'm sorry?
Said hello.
Hi. Yes, Zach Weinstein, Save Gansevoort. So a couple of things about this application. It's always nice to be positive. The good news is that the applicant's proposing to eliminate the billboard on top of the existing building. I don't think anyone's going to regret losing that billboard. Second of all, the ground floor facades, the treatment seems to be sensitive and historically appropriate. A big improvement over the previous design that was approved by LPC. The only comment I would have is that the entry vestibule on 9th Avenue seems overly fussy and out of character and overly large. Perhaps the committee might want to take a closer look at that. Unfortunately, that now brings us to the elephant in the room, the glass addition on top of this building. As the applicant stated, yes, the LPC has exercised flexibility over permitting new additions in this neighborhood. And the neighborhood does have a history of change and buildings being adjusted to new uses. But that does not mean that anything goes. The proposed addition, the glass addition, frankly, it looks like a cross between a Victorian greenhouse and a nuclear submarine. It does not relate in any way to the existing building, to any other structure in the Gansevoort Market Historic District, or to any other aspect of the market's history. Yes, there's some leeway here, but it has to relate to the history. It has to relate to the historic character. It has to relate in some way to the uses that have been in the area previously. And the existing proposed design simply does not do that. And then on top of that, it's highly visible.
30 seconds, please.
Yeah, the applicant is absolutely correct. This is a gateway to the Gansevoort Market Historic District. And it's precisely because it is so iconic and so visible and so central that this proposed design is grossly inappropriate. One final point, the applicant is evidently planning to demolish the interior structure. I'm concerned about facadism, that we're going to end up here with a facade that surrounds a modern building. And as we unfortunately have extensive experience with, too many of these proposals end up revealing structural instabilities in the facade. So not only is the interior structure demolished, the facade ends up being taken down, replaced with a modern facade that is a plastic replica of the existing building. And I would ask for the committee to really closely investigate what are the guarantees that that's not going to happen here, because we've had too many bad experiences and too many times in the past the LPC has failed to do adequate structural research and obtain proper guarantees that the historic material will remain. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. We'll go to Martin Klein, please.
Thank you. Chairman Spence, thank you very much for letting me speak. I'll be brief. I'm going to align myself with the remarks of Chloe Kane. I've lived in New York for my entire adult life, which is over 50 years, and I support the project. I know New York well. I've grown up here, and I know the expectation both of the neighbors, and I know the work of the community board in preserving the character of the neighborhood. I was also president of Central Synagogue, which some of you may know is one of New York's largest religious institutions, and I was president when it burned down. And all I can say is rebuilding a landmark synagogue with 4,000 Jewish opinions is not an easy task. I think this is an important historic building. It's in poor condition, and I think the design team has done a fabulous job in designing it in a way that fits in with the character of the historic district and respects the architectural styles. And I think removing the billboard on the rooftop is a huge plus. I think that overall this is going to enhance the look and feel of the district, and it's going to preserve, not deteriorate from not detract, sorry, from the character. And I hope that you as a community board will approve the positive changes that I know are going to take place with this design. Thank you for letting me speak, Chairman Spence.
Thank you. And we'll go to Eduardo Minoli.
Hello, I'm from the Annabelle's team, so I don't think I should give any more remarks from this, but I really hope you will approve this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pete, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is Pete Davies. I spend a lot of time in the meatpacking district, Gansevoort area. I don't live there, but I am concerned about how this change will impact people who live nearby. If you could put up slide number 38, that'd be appreciated. There we go. Right now, the building reveals the sky. You see how the building meets the sky. The addition disturbs that connection. And in many ways, the very interesting but inappropriate glass structure on the roof just interrupts the existence of how this building sits in this location. And if you could put up number 48. There you go. I don't know that it's been commented on much, this retractable roof and how that will act, what that will do when there are club patrons inside. It seems that the glass, it's been commented that the sun during the day will bounce off. The committee should look at what happens with the light inside through the glass addition at night.
Seconds, please.
And what happens when the roof is open, the noise, the sound, the infiltration, the impact on the existing local community. So hopefully you'll look at all that, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Pete. If there's anybody else, okay, Janice Figueroa, please.
Yes, hi, I'm Janice Figueroa. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
I live at 345 West 13th Street. I'm an owner here, and I agree with my neighbors that, of course, this is an important historical building, but I do not agree with the rooftop addition. I think it subtracts from the importance of the building, and it doesn't fit with the context of the neighborhood at all. So I just wanted to lend my support to GVSHP and to my neighbors to say I do not support this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, is there anybody else? Okay, please, it doesn't appear that there's anybody else, but if there is anybody else, please raise your hand now. Okay. Thank you. So Chenault, we've heard from the public.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and thank you to the, could we have up the, I'm going to suggest that since we have so many people here, we deal with this one first in the executive session, if that's all right with the committee.
Before you start the business
So
session.
everybody's here.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
But we're not in the
No.
business session
No.
yet.
But I'm sorry, do we have more?
We have the committee.
Yes.
I mean, is there someone else to speak?
Yes.
No, the committee has questions. Since we've
I'm
reversed our
sorry.
usual order,
Yes,
since
you're
we've
absolutely
reversed
right.
our usual order,
Right.
we've got our turn. We've got our turn now. And I would like to start by echoing many of the concerns that we've had, that we've heard this evening, but I'd like to particularly ask about the nighttime conditions here, because we've seen no renderings of that. We all know what a prominent gateway position this building has. I mean, I think that's indisputable. And as I imagine what this would look like at night, which, you know, I'm sure the intention is for this to be a very active place, I keep thinking about like almost like a lighthouse or some sort of lighthouse fixture that's this sort of beacon. You know, it's terribly important. This addition is just so overly important in relation to the building. And I think even in the daytime, I walked by there today, and I think the scale of the renderings doesn't do justice to the visual impact of the surrounding neighborhood. It's enormous. It has an enormous and very important appearance. And when I imagine that really lit up at night, it sort of says land ahoy, it doesn't really, I don't know how that integrates with the historic district, with its market history. I think that, eclecticism is an interesting argument, but it has its limits in a historic district. And I'm very, very concerned about the importance of this and the at night especially. And I'm wondering what you can share with us that might diminish any concerns that we might have about glare during the day and illumination, excessive illumination at night.
Those are excellent points. So the selection of the glass is paramount to the success of this project, both from internal thermal comfort and glare and reflectivity outside. There are speakers who talked about the reflectiveness and concerns about reflecting into buildings. We are doing reflective studies with Borough Happold, who do this as an expertise. We then study each panel of glass and study its makeup and determine what kind of film and tint it should have to inhibit external reflectivity, while also creating thermal comfort inside. There is, so the glass will be tinted for all kinds of reasons, for that reason, for energy efficiency, and will create the ownership has expressed their concern about not having a light polluting affect. The film in the glass will create a muted sense that the vibe up there is not lighthouse. There is also on the internal face tracks for curtains that can be pulled up for acoustic reasons and also for different lighting effects at night. And then would be remiss to remark about the billboard currently at night is kind of the star of the show down there. It's illuminated and is quite the beacon. So I think we would be hopefully better than that.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's just not true.
I'd like to ask something, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think, anyway, thank you.
I'd like to ask something about this. Can you give us some examples of a similar structure that has these properties of presumed non-reflection and not being a prominent when it's lit at night from within? I understand it theoretically, but
yeah,
is there something you can point to, or a picture or something?
We can collect some for you. We did a similar glass study with Borough Happold as well for.
I'm talking about some concrete thing that we can understand.
There's a glass and steel dome addition to Tammany Hall in Union Square that has a similar concern, that had similar concerns about reflectivity and glare that we studied at length for the glass composition for an appropriate solution there. So it's not emitting light at night and reflecting it to neighbors.
And Todd, that project was built and completed how many years ago?
It was
7
finished
or 8 years ago.
Yeah, it was finished in 2020.
Yeah, so it's been there for a number of years and all. 17th Street and Park
Right,
Avenue.
Yeah, I know the building. Okay. Susan,
Okay,
sorry.
Anita,
Not to repeat anything, but the one thing I would say about the addition is the, what do they call it when you don't have the dark sky, you have light flooding? This is going to be a glow, like unbelievably. It's like a huge light bulb on the roof. And I think that's a problem and very unappealing. I mean, most structures have a roof. So if you do have the light flooding out, it floods out horizontally and not vertically. The other question I have is regarding, first of all, I think the restoration looks fantastic. Absolutely love it. Very happy to see that. The metal clad windows they look double hung, but they're not. Is that correct?
Correct.
Could you just describe how they operate and if they swing in or out as a casement?
Oops, sure. So they are simulated double hung, but the lower sash is an in-swing casement. This is for much better energy efficiency than traditional double hung windows. So it appears like a double hung from the outside, but when operated, it's this the diagonal kind of dotted line indicates operation. That's an in-swing casement, but just the lower sash. The upper sash is fixed.
And just for context, Anita, this is a new detail that the commission and the staff at the commission have seen now quite a bit and are approving it regularly on a wide range of projects. We have individual landmark we're working on Madison Avenue, projects out in Governor's Island. This is a very much of a
limited in the amount that they can open? I mean, sometimes they're like 4 inches.
Sure. There will be limit stops on them.
Thank you.
did you have anything else, Anita?
No, well, I guess I had a question about the railings at the street level. Those are historic, correct? And are they being replicated as to what was there, or?
Yes.
I know there's a lot on this project, so we didn't go into everything. Oh, you have it right there. There you go.
Yes, the intention is to replicate the historic wrought iron decorative areaway fences.
And there's going to be stairs going down, or is that just an example?
There will be some remain, such like the example on the left will remain with a new fence around it. And we're proposing at least two new stairs down into new areaways, and then other areaways that are just light wells for the windows below.
Thank you very much. That's it.
Sean Slimini.
The original building had a fence and an areaway?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Brian.
All right, I'd like to start with some comments and then end up with a few questions about details, if I might. Certainly, EKSK is well known in the neighborhood. Obviously, they've done so many remarkable works. 919 9th Avenue, 2127 9th Avenue, 59th Avenue, 405 West 13th, and it goes on from there. And it's remarkable that every single one of those projects, virtually at any rate, have a sizable setback. I would estimate it's close to 6 feet from the original facade. And our calling or our charge is that we do not allow any additions that are obviously very visible. And if in fact that cannot be achieved, that it be minimized by reasonable setbacks and other devices to make the appearance of the addition as minimal as possible. This is obviously a new building starting from 2 stories in the ground. You don't show any details of how you're going to protect the foundations very extensively, not only under the building, but all the way out into the street on both sides. It is really a remarkable new building with, as was pointed out, a simple measure of facadism. In fact, there's not much of the facade that's being saved either when you rework every window and every door in the building. So my questions regard the material of the glass. You described it as billowing, and so obviously that's curved glass. Is that all custom pieces of curved glass to achieve that?
Correct.
All right, and the areaways and the lot line, I'm a little curious about what's permitted. I assume the property line is at the building line, but there must be some permissible construction for the building that would involve the areaways. But when it comes to that entry canopy or entry vestibule, pardon me, the entry vestibule on 9th Avenue, that seems to be out on the public sidewalk, and so I'm curious about how you would get permission for something like that. And yeah, there's no way to get around the fact that not only is the glass structure on the roof so enormous and it's not set back, but the bulkheads have gone from size that they are now, they're twice as big and twice as tall on this new design. That's even under the previously approved new bulkheads and new stairway and so forth, none of them were that large. And so my question is, what in the world are you doing to require such a huge bulkhead on the roof? Thank you.
There are two questions there. The first one, they're both good questions. The first one is about the areaways and vestibule. All those things are subject to not only landmarks and the building department, but also to the Department of Transportation under their revocable consent program. When you propose building, or in this case, digging in the public right of way, which is anything, like you said, outside the property line, you have to apply to DOT for approval. It is not as of right, so it is part of it's another regulatory step that this project would have to take. Even though the areaways did exist 100 years ago, they're not grandfathered in, that they've been filled in. The ones that have been filled in are not grandfathered back. And then as for the rooftop bulkhead, yes, agreed, it is big. It is the minimal size. We're working hard with our consultants, our elevator consultant and our mechanical consultant, to both shrink as much as possible the elevators and their overhead, the new codes that are required and the overheads for elevators. We're using an elevator machine room-less technology to make it as small as possible. In other words, a conventional elevator would be even taller. And as for the mechanical piece, we're kind of trying to hunker it down next to the elevator, not on top of it or to the side. It's hunkered next to it, and as small as it can be to facilitate and accommodate the new energy code of New York, which is smartly aggressive, and it requires this kind of efficient rooftop units to serve the program of the building.
If I may, this large increase in the bulkhead over the previously approved one is because the elevators, I assume, need to serve the rooftop addition. So the overruns or whatever they are on top of the carriage. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Correct, exactly.
Okay, Arturo.
I had quite a number of questions.
Go for it.
So if at some point somebody else wants to.
Get the microphone a little better for a tour.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, sorry, let me, I'll just move over here. I have quite a few comments and questions, so if somebody else wants to, intervene at some point, feel free, so I'm not talking forever. Why the change in architects? That's one question.
It's a change in ownership.
Okay. And then could you tell me a little bit about the primary inspiration for the rooftop design?
Sure. So we're inspired by a few things that we mentioned during the presentation. The geometry of the site, the triangular geometry of the site implies this kind of tapered form. So we were inspired to create that in sections. So that's why it kind of tapers towards the front. We're inspired by the elevated rails of history, of the other kind of rooftop scapes of the industrial character of the district. There's as we all know, there's this incredible history of the marquees, the metalwork of the marquees in the district, the metalwork of the elevated rails that were there that we all see in the black and white photographs of, and the shadows that they created onto the sidewalk. So it's all that, in plus kind of creating a symbol, a new gateway symbol. I know what we heard about the feelings about that, but we're trying to create a contemporary top that preserves the identity and volume of the existing building below. So in other words, draw inspiration from the window rhythm, the staggering staccato nature of the cornice brackets and that recessed paneling in the cornice to create detailing, metal detailing of kind of a billowing kind of form above.
Okay. I guess I just didn't see that. When I looked at it initially, it did really feel quite egregious and distasteful. To me, it looked like a lopsided Salesforce tower or an orbital drone or the San Francisco Transit Bay Terminal. And I think when you provided the comps that you shared, 919 9th Avenue, 409 West 13th Street, 837 Washington Street, these all use a restrained modern industrial language with dark metal framing, with meaningful separation between beams, with structural order and the spirit of the construction elements, with clear and meaningful separation between the old and the new. So to me, I don't really see the connection between this rooftop proposal to the neighborhood and even the industrial character, either historical or contemporary. So that's not something I would necessarily agree with. My next question and comment is on the aerial view. So I'd like to further supplement what other people have said about setbacks and planters. So looking at the side views, looking at the aerial views, it does feel like this would benefit from a further setback or the continuity of the planter that you have at the corner. And frankly, completely removing the dome that you have. That 20 feet on top of the building does feel quite egregious. And maybe just maybe keeping the base of the rooftop to say 10 feet with a flat, if not minimally higher ceiling. And I think you can see various examples across New York City where this concept of a protected rooftop, but with glass is done well. So I would offer that recommendation. On fencing, again, I forgot who asked about fencing. I would ditto on fencing. What I would say though, is this is a very historically open area for residents, for visitors, for tourists, and the fencing surrounding the property feels incredibly unwelcoming, and it feels intended to create separation between the building and the community at large. I understand that there's a historic photo that you're referencing right here, but I think keeping the fencing to a minimum and no more than what you shared in the 2022 photo would actually be more appropriate for the character of the neighborhood. And finally, on the rooftop extending all the way back southwards to the end of the building, that also feels a bit unnecessary. I think there's a little bit of dissonance between that, the giant bulkhead, and I think even if you were to keep the bulkhead as is, it would pair better by itself without the extension in complement to the size of the Gansevoort Hotel. So feel free if you have some feedback, but those are some comments I would offer.
Thank you.
Very terrific. Thank you.
They don't have to respond. They don't have to, we can put it in.
Anybody else? Sean?
I'm still learning and a lot of my comments have already been given, so I don't think they would be productive.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it my turn, Susan?
Yes, Chenault.
Okay. I'm not going to rehash things that have been well said by both the public and the committee. I just want to get to a few details. This reconstruction is something we've seen before, is exactly what was done with the White House when Margaret Truman's piano leg went through the ceiling. A complete gut and redo. Therefore, there's great flexibility as to what to do. I would suggest that whatever the top wants to be of this new use reconfiguration, that it might be suppressed into the existing building, and then we wouldn't have a visibility problem, and we wouldn't have the bulkhead problem above the whatever the top floor open air use would be. Something that's not been mentioned is the glass railing that goes clear around the building. We've had glass railings before, and they simply do show. It's a myth that you see through the glass, and no matter what's done to them, they are aggressively modern and reflective, and you see them. Further in the, without details about the construction in the cellar, we're sort of at a loss, and I think the best we can do is use our boilerplate. This normally comes to us, routinely comes to us with row houses, and we'll just consider that, put in all the language about being careful, monitoring, not disturbing the building. It's a very difficult situation here of going beyond what's already excavated, having gutted the building to begin with, and we did see a rather extensive sort of proposal of how to keep the walls intact, but it certainly is something of deep concern. And I'll save everything else for the executive meeting. I think I've.
Okay, is there anybody, this is last chance for a committee member to speak?
And are there board members here? I've neglected to call for them.
Oh, if there are any, I see that there are a couple of board members online. Would you like to speak? Donna. Art, can you promote Donna? Thank you.
Hi, yeah, thanks. I just wanted to say, I think the rooftop, this is such an iconic building in our neighborhood. And I like the work you're doing to the building. I hope the building doesn't fall down, but you know, aside from the fencing, I agree with the comments about the fencing. It takes away from our public sidewalk and makes it not feel open to the public with the fencing surrounding the building. But my biggest issue is with the rooftop, and I just want to echo the comments of many of the other people that say that it looks like a spaceship landed on top of it or something like that. There's no context to anything in the neighborhood. There were no greenhouses in the neighborhood. It takes away from the beauty of the building, I feel. And I also appreciate the comments about what it's going to look like at night, because I think it's going to be big light bulbs sitting on top of there for the people around there. And I also have concerns just about light pollution and what that does to the city. So I'm not in favor of the design for the glass enclosure on the rooftop. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna.
And thank you for walking to the neighborhood, so many people.
All right, I think that's it, Chanel.
Okay, now can we have the
Yes, now
executive
we can have a business session.
these blend together so that I don't.
Wait, hang on a sec, Chanel. Excuse me, Chanel, hang on.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but someone expressed interest in new business. Do you want to handle that now or before the executive session? I think that's the way you usually do it.
Mark points out that somebody wants to bring up some new business. Is that a?
We only entertain that.
By bylaw, so at some point you have to do it. You can do it now or you can do it at the end of your executive session, business session.
Okay, when do you want to do?
I think we should move on because we have a lot of public here.
Very good.
Okay, so at the end. Thank you, Mark.
Is this a member of the public? I don't understand. I never.
Yes, Chanel. Yeah, Catherine Swan asked, is it possible to address something, speak on something not on your agenda, but related to the Landmarks Committee and coming before the LPC?
From a member of the committee?
The public, a member of the public, Catherine Swan.
I think this should come to the committee to put on the agenda at the next meeting. Can we agree to that?
You don't want to find out what it is? It might be something.
We ask the members of the committee that if they have new business to give notice to it. And this is something.
I believe that it has to do with signage in Washington Square Park.
I suspect that that's correct, but I don't want to speak for the person. Chanel,
Are we to have that at the next meeting?
No, Chanel, I think to the point that new business is a part of every agenda by our bylaws. Therefore, it doesn't mean you have to take a resolution on it, but it does mean that you ought to make some room for it at some point in your meeting, and it's up to you.
Is this to do with the signs?
I suspect it does, but I don't want to speak for the.
Okay, we'll deal with it at the end, but I do think because the public is here for this, we need to move on.
As you wish, it's yours to run.
All right, we're now in the executive meeting, and everyone's welcome to stay but not to speak. And we may or may not put questions to the applicant. Let's start at the top and go down. Are we recommending anything other than denial of the rooftop addition? There are myriad things to say about why, but that's.
We're talking going backwards, Hudson.
Yes, we're starting with Hudson.
Yeah, honestly, it does appear to be out of context with everything. It looks, to me, it's like a fish or something. You know, there's no emotional connection to it in terms of the historic district. And it's also very odd to have it's almost old fashioned-y to have like curved glass. It reminds me of the old glass additions on the suburban houses. It's very not angular, kind of odd.
And I've been to a number of the Landmarks Preservation Commission meetings lately, and they are very specific about what is the district and what is an individual building, and the importance of treating a building as itself. And we have numerous reasons to think that this is a special building. And we'll say so, the gateway, the prominence, the fame, everything about it. And so that there's every reason to not to take the examples. And the important thing that Arturo brought up, that all the other additions have some sort of industrial raw construction feeling about them, and this has none of that.
Brian?
Yes, I hate to be so straightforward about this, but any other building, we would say it is too obviously imposing, that we would demand that it would at least start with setbacks from the edge of the roof. I don't know if that would solve it, but this kind of violates any standard that we apply to any other building in any of our districts. So I would say that that is the very simplest starting point.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think we would have, I can't even imagine the kind of pretzel we would have to twist ourselves into in order to approve this in a manner that's consistent with anything we've ever done. You know?
We labor over a penthouse, an elevator. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
that corner showing, no, we don't want that.
And I think
And I found the testimony about aside from seeing it, which is true 24 hours a day. I found the testimony about the light, both within and reflection, to be unconvincing.
Yeah, we've heard many different analogies. You know, people have, it's a light bulb, it's a lighthouse, Arturo had some particularly vivid ones, but we've heard many interesting analogies. But, you know, what we haven't heard is anything that suggests anything other than this being entirely discordant with the building. Yeah. And I think, you know, that's that. We can't harmonize something that is so discordant.
If we could move then, just to keep some structure, move down the certainly the restoration of the brickwork and the window framings and so forth is commendable.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's a major undertaking. And as it was said, it's really a shell, but we'll take it. You know, it's okay. We'll take it. It'll be a good.
And then moving down to the ground floor.
Well, okay.
It seemed to be certainly the Ninth Avenue historic redoing of the multiple entrances. I was sure these were going to be maisonettes when they started, but they're not. That all seems to grow directly from the historic photograph from 1850, which is, and presumably that's original.
Well, I question that, you know. I question it because this is an industrial manufacturing building of heavy duty, you know, big stuff like safes. And they, in order to function in that purpose, there must have been a lot of big doors, freight doors. There must have been a lot of egress and all of those things. I was shocked to see the uniformity of small windows and small doors on all four sides. I know that there's some evidence of that from photographs, but I'm very doubtful whether that really works for basically a foundry.
Loading docks.
Yeah, yeah. So
and there was something in the reading about it, was that it was in fact smaller things that were built or something. And because I questioned about that, and somewhere it was mentioned that it was lighter, smaller things and not whales. That also the Ninth Avenue, we don't seem to have seen any historic photographs. I mean the West Side, and that has always been open in recent times, certainly.
Yeah, the LPC documents say that the building was printing and lithography, wood, paper, printing, meat, poultry, produce, and then they worked together.
Printing.
That was its origin then. Given the whole trip around the building at the ground floor, is there anything we're going to object to?
Well, we should
Didn't hear
talk about the entry for sure.
Okay, let's talk about it. That's sort of a tack on. I'm thinking about the windows and the doors and the longer windows on the west side.
My impression is that knowing that the entire interior of the building is being rebuilt, reorganized and redesigned, there's really no need for something to be stuck on the outside of the building that is not really a part of the original, even though there may have been something out there at one time, or I don't know when it was built or how long it lasted. But it's definitely something that for the new use and interior vestibule would work just as well.
What do you want to say about it? Do you want to say something against the proposal for the?
Yes, I don't think it's appropriate for the historic character of the building.
I completely agree. I think it's super.
What are we talking about?
The entry vestibule.
No, I'm talking about the everything except the entry.
Oh, okay.
Well,
the windows, the doors, the entrances,
yes.
On the west side, the larger windows and so forth.
All right.
Nothing. There was no objection during the meeting to that.
Well, you heard it several times. The fencing and the areaways is a.
All right, I'm talking about the facade. We're just doing it piece by piece. The actual facade of the building.
So now let him speak. Let him speak.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian.
You said down to the ground floor, and we're looking at
the ground floor facade. Are there objections to it?
Yes, we're ground floor. The openings are too small, too regular, it's all been sanitized in a way that I think it takes away from the character. This is as the same reference that was made about the rooftop addition having no reference at all to the industrial character of the neighborhood. I'm saying the same thing, and I'm hearing the same thing from others, that the ground floor openings and the treatment has sanitized it to the point where you would not walk by and say, oh, well, this was an industrial building.
But how can we say that when there were photographs that they're almost exactly reproducing? That I'm just trying to.
Well, that's not really true. If you look at the picture right next, isn't that the building marbleized iron? Oh, whatever that is.
Irregular.
It is.
That's right. If you really look at it, there's a lot of irregularities, different sizes, setbacks, and so forth.
It's two different buildings.
It's homogenized. It's become.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So do we want to say that we would like to see more variety in the facade treatment of the ground floor?
It's historic uses.
There you go. Variety reflects as historic uses.
Yeah. All right, good. What else?
Meanwhile, back to the exterior vestibule.
The vestibule.
Don't forget that.
So if we're still just on the facade, and I know you brought us down to the ground floor, but notice on the historic photos, we oftentimes make a very big deal out of these ghost signs. And the nature, the character and the texture on the brick from the old painted signs. All of that is gone. All of it's lost. We go to great pains to try to save that. We certainly tried to save it over with the Homestead building on the corner of 14th Street, which, that was supposed to be saved in all of its character, and it got torn down. Over, by the way, some of the same conditions as we saw portrayed for this. We're going to gut the shell. We're going to excavate around it. And lo and behold, it all comes down.
So we'd like to see more of the historic textures of the facade retained.
Yes, I would.
Now, the entrance, which is clearly tacked on.
I'm not suggesting that we take down the share screen.
Good comments, Brian. Thank you. That's good.
Sure.
Where are we?
What's next, Sean?
The entrance.
Vestibule.
So do you want to speak about it?
Well, I think I said and Brian and I each said what we think about that. I mean, I think it's superfluous. I would recommend denial of that. I think it encroaches on the sidewalk, and there's no precedential reason that justifies it. So
I don't think there's a precedent anywhere in community board 2 with the exterior vestibule.
And one can get in without it.
Right.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, it's a new building. They can figure that one out. Yeah. Okay, what's next?
There's no reference historic or to the building itself.
Right.
I even think in Manhattan, not many places that have an exterior vestibule.
No.
Only removable ones, temporary
Yeah, but
ones.
those plexiglass ones for the winter.
It looks like trying to designate the entrance without having a sign, because obviously it wants to be discreet.
Yeah.
Not an architect, our exterior vestibules kind of Regency period.
Regions.
It seems very.
It's not part of New York.
No, I know, yeah.
All right, Chenault, I would like to bring up one other issue that I don't know how we should deal with in the resolution, but I do think we can't assume that the areaway and the fencing will be approved by DOT. The applicant was very transparent about the fact that it's not necessary, that it's not grandfathered, that the revocable consent on which that depends is not grandfathered.
I think that was for the vestibule. Was it
Well,
for
if we go back to our
areaways too?
our famous encroachment of
They said the
row
areaways.
house, the bottom step of the row house entrance. We do a landmark approval, and then DOT looks to us for a separate recommendation of approval.
Okay.
So we as it's a little complicated. There's no committee to look after encroachment. So because we're the obvious one to look after aesthetics, this group, as an advisory group to the board, if you will, makes a recommendation for revocable consent, which we routinely do in anything that we've approved as a landmark activity. We certainly approve the design of it and whether it's correct for the building and whether it's to be or not. And then, so if we don't want it, don't feel it's appropriate, we say so on the landmarks level, and then down the road when if it comes to be approved by landmarks and they come for the revocable consent, we say that we don't recommend revocable consent for the areaway encroachment or the fence or whatever it is. And that would be true of the entrance as well.
Is that something that we would?
But it's not for the applicant to come to us and say that it's going to be approved by
We do
anybody.
Do we do new revocable consents? I know if, let's say, a stoop, a stepway that had been into a brownstone that was removed around 1900, and they want to put it back, and they had a revocable consent back in the 19th century to build that stoop, that stairway. We might allow it back, but do we approve new revocable consents, which are never revoked because they're going on perpetuity?
It's come up quite frequently lately, and
does get filed.
so we don't need to deal with that yet because it hasn't come to us. What's before us?
We should
is
just say
the
what we
landmark
like and don't
matter.
like.
Yeah.
We'll worry
this.
about it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we discuss the fencing in the resolution.
Absolutely, yeah.
So as a matter of the design, do we want to deny it? As a matter of a landmarks consideration? If we do, then we do.
I would say, I'm personally, that I find the fencing objectionable for reasons that others have also mentioned, which is the sort of moat-like keep out aspect of this, particularly given all the work that's being done, all the progressive work that's being done in the meatpacking district to create plaza space. It seems to be really counter to what the overall push is in the district to create friendlier, more user-friendly public use kinds of spaces. So to create a moat around this particular building flies in the face of what we are seeing otherwise.
It's also, exactly well said, Susan, it's also residential. This is not a industrial vocabulary.
Right, the vocabulary is a row house.
Exactly, it's a way of getting light into the lower levels.
Yes.
But it's not industrial,
Yeah,
commercial.
It's row house language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was any evidence shown that it was original?
It's shown in the photographs that they showed us, but I don't know that
For
it's
that-
original.
At least for that one corner, we didn't really see the perimeter.
Well, it's not all the way around.
And that some exist now, right?
Yeah, there's a few stairwells, I think.
There are a few
But
stairwells.
perhaps we could say that it not be increased beyond the amount that's there now.
And also, some of them have no openings.
Most of it doesn't, yeah. So I think what you just suggested makes good sense, Chenault.
For that.
Because it really doesn't have to do with the fence so much, it has to do
With the whole
light well,
area wide.
the area of the areaway itself, which is.
Well, are these gonna be shops? Did we hear that? I don't even know. Are these stores?
That's all private.
It's all private?
Annabelle's is the
Private club for the
The
hotel.
whole building?
building.
What?
So they're reducing floor area by half.
Some of this exists, some of it doesn't. So I think your suggestion makes sense, not to recommend anything beyond what existed historically in terms of
And
that.
also what serves a purpose. If there's a stair, that might be integral to something, but if there's nothing and it's just fencing in and you know how they have them on Hudson Street? Sort of like a fence and then there's like concrete behind it and then the building starts. There's like.
What is that? Right.
Yeah, that's not that unusual, but. Not that.
I think we might add to this that in the evolution of the building and the district, that what we said, that the more open spaces have become part of the district as it's developed.
Yeah.
public space, park-like space. And they benefited from that. This building really benefits from those wide, open
Yeah.
spaces. It's really part of that.
And there's really no parallel to the reasoning for the bottom step of the stoop, which nobody knows is anything except all the technical people like us. And this is a considerable amount of space and considerable deprivation of sidewalk space. I guess we said enough about the entranceway.
Yeah.
Is there anything else apart from the rooftop now that we haven't dealt with? I would just say the 9th Avenue cornice is an important addition.
Yes, I mean, the
Yes.
building needs love.
Yes.
It's getting it, and that's
Yeah,
really great.
and we should commend
Yeah,
all of those things for sure.
and it's such a prominent building, and it, you know, pretty great.
I'll put that
Yeah.
back. That's part of the
And a lot of money. I mean.
that's
this-
part of the facade restoration.
Can't even begin. I mean, millions and millions of dollars. We're tearing up a whole.
Okay, we've disposed of everything except the rooftop addition, correct? What is there to say more?
I think we said it.
Well,
It doesn't fit in.
We discussed the rooftop addition at the beginning.
It doesn't fit with our criteria of minimally.
I want to be sure that we're clear. We're simply denying it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep it simple.
Is there anything else about the?
Is everybody agreed on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, shall we hear from the park thing?
What about the other three?
But we have two other.
The other three.
No, but I don't think anyone's waiting on that.
Okay.
So
I can
we'll
allow-
come back to those, of course.
Oh, okay.
But
I just allowed her to talk.
this was just in consideration of the public who were here to hear what we were saying.
Hey, Catherine? you
Yes,
wanna-
hi there. Okay. Join as panelists. Okay.
Don't hear you.
Just rejoining us.
Okay, is someone to speak?
Yeah, she's here.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, members of the public.
From Japan.
Thank you again.
Like
Sure. Hi.
Ma'am,
Hello.
are you
Hi.
here about the signs for the park?
Yes. Yeah. Hi. My name is Catherine
I
Swan.
thought that we were going to hear that you were ready to do it and we didn't schedule it. It's just a confusion about the scheduling. So,
Okay.
would you please?
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. You guys work really hard, so I totally hear you. So I just wanted to address the signage. There's a proposed new signage at Washington Square Park. And I was at the Community Board 2 Parks Committee meeting in early March that addressed some of this. And so I learned about what they were proposing. And it was referred to as in-park executions, which was a little bit vague, but what it turned out to be was about signage in Washington, in and around Washington Square Park, which of course is a historic district. There was a presentation by Will Morrison, who works for both the Parks Department and the private Washington Square Park Conservancy. And he mentioned putting signage, that they wanted to put signage at 10 entrances to the park on light poles and fences. He referenced it being similar to signs at Central Park and Prospect Park. Now, Washington Square Park
is 9.75 acres. Central Park is 843 acres, and Prospect Park is 526 acres. Washington Square Park is more, is similar to Union Square Park, which is 6.5 acres, and Madison Square Park, which is 6.2 acres. I went to both parks shortly after this meeting, and they have basically no signage around their parks referencing either the Conservancy or the bid that run both those parks. So Community Board 2's Parks Committee has apparently decided not to do a resolution or submit any notes to the Landmarks Preservation Commission. The comments from the committee and both the public at this meeting, even though, as I said, it was very vaguely worded, so I think most people from the public would not have known what this meeting was about, which I think is unfortunate. But anyway, was concerned, and there were a lot of good comments and questions about this, but for some reason, the Parks Committee has decided not to submit anything to the Landmarks Preservation Commission. And so I'm just really
I think I can answer your questions.
Okay. Okay.
I thought that you were here to present the signs.
Okay, I present my own signs, but
we
okay.
we expect, I would assume it wasn't at this meeting, but next month that the parks, the Conservancy will present its plan to us.
Oh, okay.
It's really a landmark question rather than, and that's why parks, I think declined, because, and so the proper time for this is when a presentation is before us to talk about.
No, that's amazing.
So,
I'm just concerned.
you will see it then, and
Okay.
and that's the time to speak
No,
about
that's
it.
okay. No, I'm glad. No, because in their notes, they said that your committee might address it, but their meeting was in early March, and I was just worried.
We address whatever is on the agenda. So
Mhm.
if you see it on the agenda next month, that will be the
Okay.
proper time to come.
Okay. I'm
Catherine,
ready.
please keep an
And you
eye
can
on
always
the
call
community
Mark at the
board
office
website.
if you want to double
I
check.
can call what? Oh, I didn't hear that
Okay.
last part.
Okay, but we understand your concerns and we'll entertain them at that time.
Yeah, no, I'm just glad you're going to address it. I appreciate
Okay.
that.
Thank
Keep
you.
an eye on the community board website, and then you'll see it will be posted as an agenda item under the landmarks committee at whatever point it's submitted to us. But
Okay.
there will always be a public notification on the community board website, so check in with that.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Okay.
you. Appreciate
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
We'll look forward to seeing you again.
Yes, you will. Thanks. Bye now. I don't know how to get off this.
Greenwich Street, the jewelry store going into the garage. There
Well,
seemed to be no objection to it.
yeah, I mean, I think it benefits from the awning. It's relentless. It's a lot of divided lights, and I'm not crazy about the proportions, but they did back it up with
They did,
references,
yes.
so it's okay, but I think the awning helps here, because it
Yeah.
cuts down a little bit on.
And it's certainly better looking. It's
Cuts down on the what?
better looking than what was there.
Cuts down on the what?
The amount of divided lights.
Oh.
And it just sort of tones it
And
down.
it was very carefully designed to reflect the historic use
Yeah,
of the building, which is something we like very much.
But we're good.
12th Street, replace the
Yeah, that was very straightforward and
it's
good.
No objection.
Good. More than no objection. It's good.
No objection.
So the cap, was that the metal lintels one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Metal
Or was that
lintels.
Hudson? That was Hudson.
No, West 12th is the
we all agreed on it.
of the metal lintels with brownstone
Down profile.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes.
It's just it's a restoration.
matching one next to it. Yeah.
639 Hudson Street. There seemed to be no objection aside from all the discussion about the parapet railing.
Right.
Which went on
The
for some
parapet
time.
and the cornice, give us a cornice. We need a cornice. I think it looked like it lost it, and it shouldn't look like that.
Right, it does look like that.
I don't understand why there has to be any,
Any what?
Oh, yeah, we,
any capping.
well, we believe that the top of the wall needs an accent to define that the wall ends and the sky begins. And
Okay.
that is
And,
a function of.
What it sounded from all the discussion.
Rainwater off, I mean.
This is what I wrote.
What about
The
replacing-
applicant agreed to work with the commission staff to resolve the
Design very well.
design of the parapet railing.
Looks nice.
Sure.
Didn't last very long.
Let's get a better metal.
It
Do
needs,
we want to make particular recommendations about what that resolution should be?
I think that one had problems, I have to say.
but it needs something.
So we
If
need a
not,
tortoise,
that's that.
whether replacing it.
I think, Chenault, that we should indicate a little bit more than that we should make a recommendation that's a little bit more than that. And
Okay.
we should discuss among ourselves, whether we feel that just a cap of some sort, or whether we want to go as far as recommending a cornice.
Definitely a cornice.
Yeah, I mean,
It looks fair.
And why wouldn't we recommend a cornice?
why are we even discussing this? The buildings get cornices.
What do you think,
You know,
Arturo?
This is a 1952 building.
I do appreciate the attempt of a contemporary cornice look with the metal parapet,
Right.
but either one is fine with me.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Either way.
An actual,
But not none.
yeah,
Right,
So I'm fine either way.
right. So why don't we
Okay,
just
yeah.
kind of expand what you just suggested, Chenault, to just a tad, so that there's room to allow for the possibility of a cornice. So whether it's a cap or a cornice or
That is a
whatever.
cornice. The cap is a cornice in this design.
But if we want to recommend a cornice, we can. That seems
Oh, a cornice is not
far from recommending the cap
Architects,
be.
guide us.
The wording is that we're recommending that they increase the visual element at the top of the parapet.
Yes.
Aha.
They do the design, they
Okay.
figure out what is the best fit,
Yes,
but that
Perfect.
yes, yes,
increases it from what it is right now.
However they get there.
yep. Okay,
All right.
And increase
Ding, ding, ding.
the importance of the what is it called? Cap or a cornice.
I consider that.
And that the applicant agreed to work with the commission staff on the details.
yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to write and talk at the same time. That's a bad idea.
Or bring it back. I don't know. It's okay with me to bring it back. Brian?
Okay, that's all agreed, right?
Yes.
That is,
Doesn't that remind you of the shape
Um,
in Japan?
Oh,
we always have a terrible
Did I
time
just-
thing. Arturo asked about getting the things to the committee, the resolution to the committee. I think that the best we can do time-wise is send it to everybody at the same time, and we can always send a revision. The point is to try to get it sooner rather than later for distribution, and it's going to be fine points. The corrections are not going to be that we recommend something we didn't recommend or don't recommend something we recommend.
right, but could we get it to the committee first, say by Tuesday?
That's what there's often not time for.
Okay,
But it's perfectly all right to send a revised one ahead of the meeting. It has to go in by Wednesday morning.
okay.
So there's time to, and we try to get it out by Monday
Yeah,
night. or
okay.
Tuesday.
Then I guess the ask would be that when you send it to Mark or to staff
We'll
to,
send it to we'll just copy
Yeah.
everybody.
yes, please.
that makes sense.
Somehow I'll come up with it. It's really important to talk about this triangular building as the importance of it as a building. If the Empire State Building came to us, we would talk about it as the importance of a building. And in terms of its placement and sort of really set apart from the district, all the other buildings that he showed with things were tucked in somehow, so their impact is not so great. This building's in your face already. And it
Oh,
makes
it's
a
front and
huge
center.
difference.
It's the Flatiron Building in Meatpacking.
Yeah.
And I'll point out that about the commission treating individual buildings of importance as individual buildings, not as yet another one to follow
Great.
a precedent. And they were very wobbly about precedents when it needs to be wobbled.
I think also when we have such a glass structure, that the applicant should represent it at night.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
Totally.
Really good point.
It's a completely different experience.
And what we're not going to put up with again
At
is
night, it's like a lighthouse.
what we're not going to get stuck with again is this thing of being forced into something we're not ready to do. They were simply totally inadequate notice to the public. And that's one of our primary obligations.
Yeah.
So
Are we adjourned?
we're gonna be-
Okay,
Thank you.
motion to adjourn.
Second. Thank you.
see you all next month.
Next week, Chanel.
I'm going on vacation.
You're going on vacation?